A not guilty verdict despite the confession of a murder. It's been an unthinkable reality for the family of Lacey Johnson of Mullen since that verdict last November. They've been trying to process why a woman who told a 911 dispatcher she stabbed Johnson in 2012 is not behind bars. Tonight, we sit down with Lacey's family and reveal startling details about another unsolved murder that could be linked to this one. And we'll share the possible new information that could help solve it.
He was a great guy. He had a great, he made you laugh.
Alex and Matt Johnson cling to the memories.
Never a dull moment, that's for sure.
Of their father, Lacey Johnson.
Do anything to help anybody.
Those memories are all they've had since October of 2012, the night Lacey's girlfriend Donna Long called 911 and confessed to stabbing their father in the chest.
I did, I swear to God I did.
That was the 911 call jurors heard last November during 3 days of testimony. But after less than 3 hours of deliberations,
not guilty.
The woman accused of murdering Lacey Johnson would walk free.
As far as me or the justice system or anything, I have zero faith. And the whole time there was like, we got it. There's no way it's a slam dunk. She's guilty.
Donna Long's attorney presented at trial that she was intoxicated and not thinking clearly when she made the 911 calls, and says a murder weapon was never discovered. Long testified that she must have passed out. When she woke up, she saw Lacey Johnson bleeding.
But you have enough sense to call 911 and say you stabbed a man, and then you give them your address, and then you call back 7 minutes later and ask where they're at because you called twice.
The Johnsons say they believe authorities weren't as thorough on the investigation because they believed they already had a confession.
The bathroom sink was full of blood.
They did the luminol on it, but they didn't do the DNAs to see who it was. They didn't even come back the next day to look for the knife. They walked in the night in high grass, never come back the next day. The knife still might be out in the field for all we know.
We are waiting for confirmation from authorities on this. And even before the night Lacey was killed, the Johnsons say there were signs of violence in the years they knew Donna Long. They say Long even threatened their dad just a month before he died.
4 weeks and 1 day, before actually the stabbing happened, I went over to their house and she put my daddy in a headlock and said, "You SOB, if I don't kill you now, I'm going to kill you."
But Johnson told us there's something else about Donna, something he says she told him years ago. He didn't think much about it until the death of his father. And that information could help Dillon authorities solve a murder from more than a decade ago. Police originally arrested another Long, this time Sherry Long. Officers booked her along with Roger Barfield for the death of then 28-year-old James Glenn Hazelden. He, too, stabbed in the chest.
You know, I grieve every day. It's just in a different way.
Joanne McDaniel has been searching for justice since September of 2003 when authorities found her son's lifeless body in his Dillon apartment.
Nobody deserves to die the way he died, to be left to rot. I mean, nobody deserves that, no matter how bad you are or good you are. Just don't deserve it.
A police report shows officers responded to a fight involving Hazelden and Barfield 3 days prior to finding Hazelden's body.
He started hitting Roger, and Roger stayed down on the ground, and then they said, I guess Sherry tried to break up the fight or whatever.
She says a witness told her at some point her son was able to run upstairs to his apartment, but authorities never spoke to him that night.
Maybe if they had a gun in a forced entry or something, they would have found him then, and you would have known then maybe who murdered him.
I will say this, and this is something I would ask everybody to keep in mind. At the time of the fight, at that point, law enforcement, the only thing they were aware of was a fight. They were not aware of anything else other than a fight.
Fourth Circuit Deputy Solicitor Kennard Redmond says he worked with Dillon police on this case from near the beginning. And despite those arrests for murder, he dismissed the case in 2013 with leave to restore, meaning he can pursue charges if new evidence surfaces. Redmond said new information prevented him from taking Sherry Long and Roger Barfield to court. He says there are no statements from anyone either having seen or committed a stabbing. He also says because a fight occurred at the time, a judge would have to determine whether self-defense or defense of others would allow immunity for that stabbing.
It makes me angry. I've got to the point where I almost lost hope in the judicial system. I have no faith in it because, to me, my son was killed. Those were the only two people around him at the time.
4 years later, Dillon police arrested Sherry Long again, this time for another stabbing. The victim, Roger Barfield, the same man who was previously arrested in Hazelton's murder. Police informed Joanne about their arrest.
And I thought surely by what all he told me and what I heard, I finally see justice one way or the other. I mean, whether it was with my son or what she had done to this person.
But this case hit a roadblock too.
The victim, in no uncertain terms, indicated that not just that there was not a desire to go forward, but that, let's just say, we would not get cooperation if the case proceeded to trial. 2
Dillon stabbings, one of them fatal. Both of them lead police to Sherry Long, but no one makes it to trial.
That was the actual last day I saw him at my house.
The latest glimmer of hope for Joanne may come from something Lacey Johnson's son says he heard Donna say about her sister years before the murder of his dad.
What she said was that her sister stabbed a fella in Dillon, and they could not find a knife, so they couldn't
send her to court
because they didn't have enough proof who actually stabbed her.
It just makes me sick. It actually makes me sick. You know, it just makes me sick.
Meanwhile, 2 families struggling for answers as 2 murders remain unsolved. We are still waiting to hear back from investigators about the evidence they tested the night Lacey Johnson was stabbed. We reached out to Donna and Sherry Long as well as Roger Barfield. We've yet to get a response there either. Now, late tonight, I spoke with Donna Long's defense attorney, Morgan Martin. He says while he respects the questions and concerns from the family, he also wants people to respect the verdict following that week-long trial. As for that possible new information in the death of James Glenn Hazelton, authorities say they plan to follow up on it and